Good afternoon, South Coast, Massachusetts. It's Mike Sylvia here with New Bedford Guide, Fall Reporter, and all the other guides that we cover. We're here for our education series, our cannabis education series that we do once a month with Basque Inc. Joining me today is Amanda and Chris from Basque. The sales location is at 2 Pequod Road in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. I think, where are you guys located today?
That's where we are today. We're right here in Fairhaven.
Yeah, people don't know. We're going to show a video here in a second, but they have this beautiful. Is it Sonnet or is it Freetown, or kind of they use the both?
It's kind of, yeah, we kind of use it as both, but yeah, it's Freetown.
Yeah, so we're in Freetown. They have this great facility. I'm going to show a video, but just for people who might never have heard of Basque, just kind of if you can give a quick summary of Basque Inc.
Basque is a locally owned, veteran-owned company in Fairhaven and Freetown. Our retail location is here in Fairhaven. We serve the medical market as well as the adult use market. We're open 9 to 9 on adult use and 9 to 7 p.m. for medical, 7 days a week. We have patient education for people who need it, for newcomers. People who don't know anything about cannabis can come and sit down and talk to somebody and learn a lot about how to use the different products and what would be best for their situation. So that's pretty much Basque.
Yeah, if you have questions out there, we're going to go over some interesting stuff. People who might not know, they've heard of hashish, they've heard of solvent versus solventless, they might have heard terpenes and other kind of monoterpenes. We're going to kind of give people an education. What is a concentrate? Those kind of things. But first, we're going to show a video. I actually had a chance to visit the grow facility in Freetown and got to shoot a great video. We're just going to show people at home kind of what goes on behind the scenes, what it takes to kind of get a great product to their consumer out there.
Hi, my name is Christian Powers. I'm the head of cultivation here with Basque, and I'm here to talk to you about our greenhouse facility. So in a greenhouse facility, you get to utilize the outdoor elements and the sunlight to help you cut down on your utilities costs while still providing the same quality of flower that you would see in an indoor environment. Also, the plants get to use the natural sunlight to help create larger trichome heads, which also adds to a better profile of the flower, but we also see that come out in our concentrates as well. These plants are in this room for 9 weeks, and then at the end of their 9-week cycle, the trellis will get cut down and will be harvested by our harvest department and then gone over for lab testing before it makes it over to packaging.
right. So that was the video I got a chance to shoot over there, and it's what a change it's been of like since we've only been legal in Massachusetts, fully legal for a little while, but even medically for I think you guys started in 2013. Is that the first year? Yeah, what a change, right? So that people don't understand. You look out from the outside, and you guys saw the drone shot there, but it's just must be an amazing place to work at.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so let's educate the people out there. And if you have a question, these are the experts to talk to. So ask a question. So first thing we want to talk about is most people know flour, right? That's what everyone's using on TV, and a lot of people consume that, and then some edibles. But let's talk the history of hashish.
Sure. Well, my name's Chris Liska. I'm the director of extraction at Bask, as well as the founder and owner of Harpoon Extracts. So we've been doing extraction since about 2012. Basically, when you look at the plant, from an extraction standpoint, what we're really after is the trichome head. So I'll use this as a prop right here. If you were to look at the actual trichome, which kind of looks like this funky pen I've got right here, you've got kind of a stem section of it and then sort of a ball on the end. This is what we're primarily concerned with during our extraction processes. That can either be done through a solvent or non-solvent method. Traditionally, with hash or hashish in the Middle East, primarily Morocco and Lebanon, a dry sift method was used, which is they dry the flower from the fields in the sun, which does to an extent degrade it, but and then they hit it with sticks in order to remove the trichomes because they become brittle when it dries. And then they collect that and then further process it into more refined hash products. So that's kind of where the beginning of extraction is with a sort of a dry sift product there, as well as what's called charas. And charas is when actual live plants, they run their hands along the live plants and collect the resin on their hands, and then get the hash from there. So that's more of like a kind of a hybrid between a dry and live product because the hashes kind of dry out. So that's kind of a beginning of extracts or extraction. The methods, they start out fairly primitive, but are extremely effective because it's still a mechanical separation. As hash has evolved over the years, there's some argument about who created the methodology, but ice and water is primarily used now to separate the trichome head from the stem. So what happens is you take your primarily fresh material, in this case, which would be live material. We differentiate between the state of the material right before extraction by referring to it as either live, which is plant material that has not been dried, that's either cut and then run immediately through an extraction process, or cut and immediately frozen. That's a live product. It's anything that's made from that type of starting biomass. Dried and cured would be your typical normal. You dry your flower out. You have your bud. That's like the typical eighth that you would normally see. In that type of extraction, we're extracting resin that's dried and cured. So the primary difference between the two lies in a lot of the terpene content that's extracted and the types of terpenes, which I'll get into a little more in depth in a minute. Suffice to say, what ends up happening is with a live extraction, it has a much higher content in a lot of the more volatile terpenes, the sesquiterpenes, the monoterpenes. You have ketones, aldehydes, ethers, all these other like compounds that normally are lost during the drying process are preserved in a live extraction. So it makes a very unique type of product and experience in that you're getting a more holistic view of the plant. Let's say it's more of what you would smell and from the plant when it's alive, and less like what it would be like when it was dried and cured.
Well, let me just stop you real quick. So terpenes, is that kind of the scent of the plant, the flower?
Yeah, terpenes are aromatic hydrocarbons, and they're created by the plant for a multitude of reasons. from repelling pests to attracting beneficial insects, protection from UV. So there's a lot of different things that the terpenes and terpenoids actually provide for the plant. But in our case, they provide us with the scent and a lot of the effects as well.
Yeah, so I know like we're going to get to a video with 1906 where they kind of brand things very simple, right? But there's like different strains. So why don't you I guess you can tell me a little bit, like you hear like indica, you hear these kind of strains. Can you just kind of give us a 101 on strains?
Sure. I mean, if you look traditionally into different geographic areas where plants have come from, you'll see that there's equatorial sativas. Then you'll have indica, which is primarily like Afghanica indica, which originated in the Afghanistan area, the Kush Mountains. And then there's hybrids of the two, as well as ruderalis, which is an auto-flowering varietal that's mixed into some strains, but it's not used commercially very often. So you've got these two different types of plants. One is very tall, lanky, thin leaves, and that's the sativa varietal. And there's a lot of different reasons for why it grows that way, but without getting into that, sativas have traditionally been more of an uplifting effect, more of they can be kind of racy in some cases. And it's for some people, they can induce a certain degree of anxiety depending on the terpene profile that's in the plant. Normally, what you're seeing with the effects of indica, sativa, and hybrids is a great deal of effect by the terpenes and terpenoids. We have what's called the entourage effect, which what it does is it allows the compounds that are in cannabis to become more effective when they're together than when they're in separate components. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have a strain that is high in THC, high in myrcene, and has a small amount of CBG in it. Depending on the other compounds that are present, that may cause somebody anxiety. It may not cause someone else anxiety, depending on how they are, but it would be much racier than if it also contained, let's say, beta caryophyllene, because that has more of a neutralizing effect on THC. So there's some different things that come into play with the entourage effect and how the individual effect that what we experience comes into play. With the indica plants, they are primarily like broad-leafed. You see almost everything nowadays is a hybrid, but they lean in one direction or the other usually. So you'd see like a sativa leaning hybrid or an indica leaning hybrid. Those are generally what you're going to find when it comes to those type of effects. And the indica effect would be more of a sedative effect.
Yeah, I'm going to show a quick video in 1906, and we're going to have Amanda talk about two events that are coming up. But I think it's important because I think when people hear about strains or they hear about cannabinoids, like
they're both correct. A cannabinoid or cannabinoid is both correct.
Yeah, and I know like people want to know like what's the difference between CBD, CBN, and then of course THC, which is the active ingredient, right? That people usually get a high from. They say high, and the other ones have a less, more of a common effect, but not really a high effect. But let me go over, because I think it's important people see branding now. They got away from kind of showing you a strain and you didn't really understand it. And now I'm going to show you this 1906, which is sold over at Bask, so people can kind of see an idea of it.
Hi everyone, I'm Lena with 1906, account manager in the Massachusetts area. We are so excited to be in Massachusetts and partnered with our partner, Bask. As you can see, that's where I am now. We have partnered with Bask to bring a edible that's really disrupting the edible scene, if you will. We are focusing on 6 different experiences, which is great for anyone and everyone, patients and customers alike. We have Go for energy, Genius for brain power, Bliss, my personal favorite, for happiness, the Ultimate Chill, the Chill Pill, Love for equal opportunity arousal, and our bestseller, Midnight. Not only do we have the fastest activation on the market of 20 minutes, our plant medicines and our THC and CBD is what really drives our products and gives you the whole toolkit for your everyday life and how to make it better.
So I think the key there is that you have the people, they call them bud tenders, right? People, when you walk in, they're going to educate you and help you find the right thing, whatever you're looking for, as opposed to we don't need Chris near us to kind of explain us every little strain or these guys will kind of explain it and dumb it down for people like me or anyone who's trying to look for a certain effect. And I think the labeling now has evolved to the point where he just kind of says, well, here's what you're looking for, right?
Right, exactly. It's very user-friendly for sure.
So Amanda, before we get back to the education part, let's talk 2 events. The first one, tell me about 710 Day.
710 is exciting, and what 710 is, it's kind of the 420 of concentrates, because if you turn 710 upside down, it spells oil. So they decided to take that date as the concentrate date, correct?
Yep.
And so for us, what we're going to do is we're going to do a 3-day kind of event surrounding 710. We'll do starting it on Friday the 9th, going through the 11th. We are going to have, vendor pop-ups. We're going to have an education table where one of our bud tenders is going to show people how to use different tools for concentrates to make it easier for them, for the beginner to start out and know what tool is right for them. We're also going to have a harpoon extracts pop-up, and Chris will be here to talk more about the different methods of extraction and different types of products that you can use. We are going to have our Epitome Edibles, who is our newest partner. He is actually using the rosin that Chris makes to infuse chocolate. So we're going to have a new ruby chocolate, which is one of the newer types of chocolates that have been discovered. It's a very fruity pink chocolate that pairs very well with the rosin. So that's a really exciting product that will be coming out for that weekend. He will also have a table set up, Adam from Epitome Edibles, where he's going to have uninfused chocolate for people to try out, and he can talk a little more about what he does and how he infuses different things. We will also have a bunch of new products coming out for 710, including the THCA crystals, which are very popular, some new rosins, and some other products. So that's going to be our 710. It's going to be a great time and lots of information for people.
I put the link to Bask website in the description. You should go there, but really you should go to their Facebook and check out, because they post everything. And one of the best thing about the cannabis industry, I think, is these pop-up events. So they had Rebecca Crea, and I think it was Cresco Labs was had a product that day. These are kind of the fun events where you kind of short-term notice, you get some great deals, you get live music and other entertainment. They had, and I think it was in Arbor Day, they had free tree giveaways, like all these like nice pop-up events. So it's really fun. So let's move on to the fitness in the park. I know it's a Jeff Costa thing, and it's a great thing over in Fairhaven.
Right. Yeah, we're very excited to be sponsoring this again. This is the 10th year of Fitness in the Park. And we are sponsoring the Yoga Tuesdays and the Boot Camp Thursdays. So 9 a.m. Cushman Park, show up and you can get some exercise and meet up with other people and probably see some of Basque there on a usually weekly basis. So yeah, it's a great time and it's great for the community. It's a great way to get some exercise out in the fresh air. It's really, really nice, really fun event.
Yeah, I think people need to understand is Basque is a co-located medical and rec facility.
Yes.
So you have 2 different entrances, 2 different parking locations. If you got your, and you should go to the website if you need a medical card. Just because there's recreation use doesn't mean you don't have to go get a medical card and go that route.
Right.
So they offer both. That's important. So make sure you, in their hours, can you kind of give me are you 7 days a week right now?
We are 7 days a week. On the medical side, we are open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on the adult use side, we're open from 9 to 9. So, you can show up pretty much any time during the day and get what you need. It's great. And, the mornings are a little bit slower. So that's a good time. If, you don't want to beat the crowd and, go about your day, come by in the morning and see us. 9 o'clock is the perfect time. But yeah, all day long. And we even offer the patient education for the adult use side, because sometimes people want to know a little more. They're not sure what they're looking for, and they are free to come over and meet with any of our patient consultants who will help them figure out what products are good for them.
Yeah, I think the future of cannabis is help people sleep. I think that's like a major medical thing. I think people take all these other extracts, or they get a prescription and they wake up super groggy. And I think like there's one of those that had sleep in there. And I think it's like, people need to go there, get an education, go on the website, get an idea. And like you saw, there was an energy one. And I had a joke with the 1906 reps where they had the love. I was like, explain the love one to me, right? So it's pretty cool that some of the stuff, and go there, look at the packaging, and they call them bud tenders. Those are guys you want to talk to. They're all highly educated on the topic. So I just want to go, you talked about a concentrate. So I'm just going to go over a couple of these names, and if you can give me a 30-second to 1 minute. So live resin, what is live resin?
So live resin refers to plants that were usually flash frozen, cut immediately, and then extracted with solvent. When it's live resin, it usually means that it was solvent extraction as opposed to live rosin, which would be a non-solvent extraction. So it has all those monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes, all that good stuff that you usually lose when it's drying.
How about sugar?
Sugar is a product that is also made from live material. Usually it can be made from dried and cured material if it's not too old. Basically what you're seeing is crystallization of THCA in terpenes. So the extraction, if the extraction is really terpy, has a lot of terpenes present, you can usually really smell it. Depending on how much moisture's in it and a couple other variables, will depend on whether it turns into shatter or sugar.
Yeah, so shatters, that kind of looks like a glass broken up.
Exactly. Yeah. It looks like a sheet of glass. Basically, what you're trying to do with shatter is you're trying to make sugar and allow it to dry in one solid piece as opposed to crystallize and create kind of little tiny chunks.
And how about sap and wax?
So sap can be actually solventless or made with solvent. It more or less refers to the consistency of it, which would be similar to like honey or distillate, something like that. It's usually good for like a dab pen, something of that effect, that nature. You see a lot of CO2 oil, that's sap.
Yeah, so let's talk methods of consumption. So obviously, I think people who've never got into cannabis or even understand it, they all know what flower is. And of course, you know, I grew up in the 80s, so people know about edibles and like brownies and those kind of things, right? Those are the basic. But what are other kind of, I know there's vaping now. What other kind of, just give a 101 in each of the consumption ways, methods of consumption?
So, I mean, there's a couple different things that you can do depending on the product. With hash, you can use some flower vaporizers, the handheld ones where you have like a pen type vape or handheld. I actually find that hash works really well in vaporizers. It gives a really robust flavor. You're getting all the cannabinoids and terpenes and everything without combustion. So it's a lot healthier. When you look at flower, most people are thinking, because that's usually their experience, you may have like, let's say 20% THCA in that sample. So when you smoke like a gram of that, some of that is being converted into THC and you're getting, a certain amount of that. And that's the high that you're feeling. With concentrates, we've taken all the plant material away. So you only have the oil that's left. So it's very concentrated. So a very small amount can give you the same effect that you would get from a larger amount of flower. So another method of consumption is what's referred to as dabbing, which is using an electric nail, which is a device that heats up a surface and allows you to put a small dab or a small piece of concentrate onto it and vaporize it. And then you inhale it through a pipe type apparatus, very similar to like a bong or something like that. And that's one of the other methods. And then there's always smoking. Concentrates, or you can always add them to a joint or a bowl or any flower product like that to increase the potency of it.
I've noticed that some companies are starting to get into beverages. You guys do beverages over there?
We do not do beverages, but we do carry two different kinds of seltzer right now. We carry the Levia brand, and Cannatrip is our newest one. They're fantastic. They're low dose. They're 5 milligrams. So it's perfect for even beginners to try out. People love the effects of them, and it's a great product. It's great for people who don't drink but do consume cannabis. They can bring their own to a party, and that way they don't have to feel weird about not having an alcoholic beverage. They're great.
All right, so I think we're coming to the conclusion here. I would definitely check over to their Facebook page, subscribe to that, get the notifications. We talked about 2 events, 7-10 day. and also the fitness in the park. Jeff Costa is awesome. Great. Every year he does a great job over there with basically it's free yoga in the park, right? And then the boot camp as well. So check those events out, and to get more education, just swing by Bask. They're happy to help you out. I know you guys have like literature over there, but the website is great.
Absolutely.
If you're looking to get a medical card, you go to the website. They help you point in the right directions. You can link to the doctors that in the state that actually will help you out and that kind of stuff. So really appreciate your time. It's been great getting people educated. Like do this every month because I think you got to kind of you got to shatter those barriers that people have with cannabis that, you know, that are out there. It's, you know, it needs to be at least treated, which I think it's not equal to. I think it's better than alcohol, but you got to at least get it up there with, you know, in the public eye and equate it at least minimally to other medicines that are out there and other recreational use, you know, drugs that are out there. So we appreciate your time, Chris and Amanda. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.